Erickson and Chad.
Hey, is that
Hey, boys.
I thought Chad was hitting the classic freeze pipe, but that since they're not sponsoring this anymore, it takes too long to fucking set that thing up.
I have
Never use it
in the house.
Yeah, I mean it is a good smoke one, but it's just god damn it. Yeah. If it takes 2 steps, I'm probably not going to do it.
2 steps. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
1 step is getting in the car to go buy the weed.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of steps.
2 step. The second step would be getting the weed and going. I mean, there's a lot of steps.
Yeah.
I liked it at first because I had to keep cleaning it out right away, and it kept me disciplined. And then I didn't like it right away because I had to keep cleaning it out right away, and I was undisciplined.
Yeah. Yeah, you must have discipline. That's what Matthew McConaughey was trying to get through to some of us.
See, now look, week after week, we just bash Matt McConaughey, but it turns out you actually did learn a little something, didn't you?
Yeah, if you keep stepping in dog shit,
walk somewhere else, bro.
Walk around. Yeah. Or, I mean, what fucking situation does McConaughey live in that there's one pile of shit and it's in the same spot every day?
You think you just put an orange cone out and just avoid that area altogether.
Yeah, he didn't have, like I would next level a lot of that shit. I would have tool shedded that with Tony Robbins to say, what do you think about, because shit ain't consistently in the same place. So how about a landmines? You got
this was it. This was an actual point that he made during.
Yeah. That was one of his. That was
shit.
Hey man, just get your butler to clean up your dog shit.
Yeah. I doubt he's dealt with stepping in dog shit, and if he did, somebody got fired.
Well, he would just kick off his shoes and then go get another pair of shoes.
That's absolutely right. You just got to roll with it, baby. And Matt McConaughey absolutely walks his own dog and picks up his own dog shit. You guys have started off this podcast by angering me.
Yeah. What do you?
I didn't know we had.
He's a real
McConaughey's second brother here.
If you want to be a real Texan, you don't settle this with words. Let's see what kind of firearm you got, motherfucker.
I got it right here, buddy.
How about a warning shot?
I got 4 shots in here.
Yeah. And is Chad drinking a woke beer?
Yeah.
Wokish.
Woke, that's pretty woke, man. I sucked a dick after having one of those.
I think this is almost a White Claw.
Yeah. Well, I'm back on my my goddamn syrup.
Oh.
God damn it.
Shame.
Beautiful day here.
Yeah, you got a lot of help from the sun. You're lighting.
I am not I was, I'm trying to be cool about it, but I am pissed off. It's like, fuck, man, whatever time we start, I don't even need to know what time it is. I just go sit in the chair and wait for the sun to get in my face.
Well, you do have the blinds kind of open, so you've got a zebra stripe thing going there.
Well, I got two.
I like dappled Andy.
It matches his sleeves.
This is it's going to, once it gets behind that second shade.
We know how the sun works, Andy. We're aware.
Well, but I got 2 shades up here. And when it gets to the double shade part, that's when it's going to look cool. Like I know what I was doing. But if we, that's what it's like. If we started at 6 and the sun would just start at shit a little later. I do think it is a Truman Show. It's a Truman Show situation. I'm fucking Truman. I don't get why people are interested, but hey, how's it going?
Wait, so what do you think? The 3 of us are in like a trailer, like a block down the street with, it looks like our rooms are separate rooms in different places, but yet
we're actually right next to each other. We're in a row.
Ed Harris has a cool hat on and a headset, a microphone.
Imagine how mad my guy would be. I don't want to be that asshole.
There are no small parts, Chad. We went over that in the production meeting.
Yeah, that's right. It's also fun that in Andy's world, we made Doug Stanhope a way bigger star.
Yeah, that's fucking.
Life's not fair.
Maybe if Andy would have been the big star, he would have figured it out. Like, wait a minute,
This is a show about the other thing not working. I mean, this is a show within a show.
I mean, but Brett, I mean, it's a little confusing when you say it like that because we're only following a script.
Well,
it's not like we're making the decisions. We're just players. We were hired in a casting call like everyone else.
Just an interesting, writing choice.
Oh, well, here's one
to make the protagonist a, Robin instead of Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's one. I was on my front porch the other day, getting ready to. I was hosing off the stairs and shit, and up comes a recast my dog, like a fancy poodle, and another little fucking sidekick dog.
A fancy poodle. Isn't every poodle
well? It was
fancy?
A poodle, elaborate. It was elaborate. It was elaborate, like a designer dog. And all of a sudden,
with the top hat on.
It had a Gucci tattoo on its
a monocle.
It had big hair and big dreams. And it went. I saw they come up the steps, and then they, then they saw me and they took off. And I go, wait a minute, come on. And they come back, and then they went up the stairs. I called them, and they come up, and then they went into my backyard. And I was like,
you're saying these are dogs,
right? Two dogs, yeah. Moxie and George something. I can't remember the poodle's name now, but I held them captive, and then I was so that would have been a Truman Show. It's like I have two new dogs, and I could get rid of the old one. It would be an upgrade to go like, hey, I was like, and then I would be like, fuck, man, how much is this dog's hair gonna? I do shitty haircuts.
You'd be killing it in bows and toenail polish for the poodle.
Yeah, so I had a dog party. My dog come out, took a shit and wanted to go right back in the house. Did not, she hasn't seen company in fucking, since COVID. She just didn't give a shit. Well, she did. She shit, but she didn't, she didn't want to hang with my new dogs.
Now, did you step in your dog's shit? Is that why we started?
No, man, because I saw him shit. What I did was I went and picked it up with a glove. I didn't think of a philosophy around it, but I picked it up, got rid of it, checked it over the fence.
Mm-hmm. See, you've got your own philosophy. We've been over your program.
Yeah.
You definitely have your own philosophy.
Yeah, I get it out of range. I don't have a great throwing arm, but I got a good enough throwing arm for that project.
Somebody on our Nextdoor app is complaining that their neighbor they have 5 dogs and they just throw their shit over the fence onto the dirt road, like where people ride their bicycles and everything. And they're wanting to know if it's illegal. And so far the consensus is it's not illegal out here where we live, but it's a fucking dick move.
Yeah.
You should stand on the road with a tennis racket and just fucking bash it back in.
Make little poop bricks.
It's one of those, maybe
Stanley Kubrick's.
Yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
You bring up a good point, Chad. We're in that day and age where we just have to accept the fact that, well, it's not illegal. So I guess the street will just be covered in dog shit because people don't have like common courtesy. Like like you said, it's a dick move. It's a bad neighbor who just hucks fucking his dog shit over. You've already done. It's like smoking weed. 2 steps.
I'm turning
you pick up
down.
the poo, and then you put the poo into a bin. They are actually flinging it.
They post pictures of it. It's pretty bad.
Wow. I turned my volume down. I didn't want my neighbors to hear, but I can do the math on it. And his dogs are violating my area. It's not really my property, but I consider it my property. And his dogs.
Hold on.
Well, it's city
not
property.
your property, but you consider it your property. So somehow he is violating your rights.
Wait, who's he? I got lost in this story.
It's the neighbor dude. They got 2 dogs, and I know how my dog shits, and I see these, these bigger and more together shits than my dog does. My dog,
like a fancy poodle shit.
yeah, my dog takes three shits, but she's like moving each time. You
She's
know,
a
3 or 4.
poo walker.
So
yeah,
She
she didn't want to step on it. Like some dogs, you know, but this big dog, the neighbor dog, it has to, you know, either that or my dog's like all of a sudden just, you know, like going against the grain.
But wait a minute. So you're saying that the only poop you fling into the neighbor's yard is the neighbor's dog's poop?
Well, no, I mean, I throw it all.
That's not it at all.
But I shouldn't even be aware of that shit. That, you know, like if he was, you know, he's like, he says, yeah, like the fucking guys on Secession say too a lot, like, yeah, or, you know, to try to, like, hey, let's get that,
shit?
let's get that done, yeah, okay, or whatever. But it's like, you know, it's like he's out there on the phone, and it's like, oh, his dog just happens to. I know the game, man. You know, oh my dog, you know, you see your dog hunching up, and then you take a panoramic view of every
You survey your land.
Yeah, surveying every little thing except the corner where the dog's squatting over there. That's what happens. So I'm gonna you know.
So are you gonna like pen a direct note? And
I might address it with the you know, the gender fluid child.
What?
Well, the kid next door is you know, he's a young.
Is it his kid?
It's a young person. Yeah, it's a young person that lives next door, and he goes to school. And like the old man, maybe he ain't picking up the shit, but maybe I could shame the person kid into going, hey, pick this, hey, them, hey, hey.
And have you looked on Nextdoor? Maybe are they talking about you on Nextdoor at all?
Totally. No, I'm the hero in this one.
I'm not sure that you are.
I mean, I'm sure in your head you're the hero.
Because I'm picking up for 3 dogs when I have one, and I'm chucking.
But you're picking it up temporarily and then launching it into somebody else's.
No, it's not another yard.
It's in the air longer than it's in your possession.
It's city property.
But
do you live next door to Chad?
Well,
maybe I don't know how this fucking works.
You throw it further than you knew.
In Arizona, though, the poop turns white pretty quick.
Yeah,
here. And
the javelinas take care of some of that too.
It dries up and turns white. At least I know that from laziness.
Dehydrates quick because of the weather.
Yeah,
desiccates.
But I have neighbors next door to me that there's still poop in this yard from 3 neighbors ago. And I know that because during monsoon season it rehydrates over there.
Yeah.
Rehydrates. So that shit doesn't go away. It's nasty.
Damn it.
It's I don't know, but in a wet climate, that's got to be bad, Andy.
Well,
that's like a swamp.
I mean, it's just fucking. It's swallowed up by blackberries. When there was a crew of people who got dewies. Okay, no shame in that, man. Everybody's good after a couple of beers and whatever. But when that crew was over here, I hadn't been chucking shit in there. That would have been a bummer for everybody.
Oh, they were trimming.
They took all the briars down. Yeah, it was a one-time project that they were doing down there, and then that's when I realized that, you know, I had a drinking problem because I chucked all my bottles. You know, I was like, you know, I didn't want people to know I was drinking or whatever. No evidence, just throw it into the briars. But when they cleaned them out, they put all them bottles together, and it was, you know, if I didn't go down there and take a picture or everything. It was humbling.
It was like the DEA after they bust the Sinaloa cartel.
Right.
Coffee table, giant fucking bottles everywhere.
Yeah, I got. So
And
I
he's over there shaking his head when they're put goddamn homeless are all over in this.
it made it look worse too because I was trying to drink less, so I had got smaller bottles of that kettle vodka. So I was getting half pints and whatever. They're not the full bottle or and it's like fool myself. Well, then but as soon as one would get out, it'd run out. I'm like, well, I better get another one to pad it or.
And that really tells the story too when you see all those bottles, because instantly, like, wow, this guy tried to tell himself he was doing the right thing by getting smaller bottles, but now sadly we just have 10 times the amount of bottles.
I'm sure the cops, they probably just like turned around and look, like where what's the natural throwing angle? Would it be that guy or somebody who's like, no, I think it's that guy. The upper decker.
I think you could tell a lot from trajectory. You'd use that crime scene investigator, like blood splatter kind of.
I'd like to do that.
The bullet tracing.
Science. Yeah. You could see like where the arc of where everything's going to go.
They look at the skid marks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like to do crime scene. I would mess up a crime scene, but I'd be interested. I'd be like, oh fuck, what about this? And they'd be like, you're stepping in blood.
Hey, you're supposed to have paper bags on your shoes. You've been in the force 15 years. How come you do this every time?
I still consider.
I don't do it if there's too many steps to put these on over my shoes.
Yeah.
Get your finger out of his butt.
Yeah, you can really I bet. I haven't been on a crime scene, but I'd imagine I would just immediately fuck it up. But like I found a dead chicken, and I was like, how did it get here? It doesn't make sense, and it was fucking, it didn't show signs of trauma or whatever.
Wait a minute, where were you? Were you in your shower?
It was
chickens.
Well, it got murdered, but it was like just real suspicious. But it was like, I wanted to investigate further. Well, a raccoon would have fucking mauled it.
Raccoons fuck up chickens all the time. Chad will tell you that.
Yeah. Maybe it was a raccoon, or maybe something lifted it up and dropped it or whatever. But then I realized after about 5-10 minutes of, hustling around, it's like, nobody gives a shit. It's like
a chalk outline around the chicken.
I wanted to know why, because I still had other chickens to worry about. This was
this was one of your chickens.
Oh, well, when I had them, and then I had after I killed all the babies, and then I got the 4 big ones.
Was everybody else just picturing Andy with no chickens and a dead chicken just showing up in his yard?
I thought he just found a chicken somewhere.
No, we had 4 for a while. After I tried to get chickens, and then it didn't work because they were too vulnerable and needed
hour of having them.
Yeah, I killed them accidentally. It felt bad, but I still had the chicken, desire at the time. I don't know why, like fucking, it seems like a nightmare if you don't, so I got into chicken husbandry or whatever, and I adopted 4 big ones. And then one was murdered while we were gone by a raccoon. We were gone, and it got, the house sitter described a bloody scene.
Yeah, I'm using this picture because the other pictures are not good.
Yeah, and I like both things. So I would have a real hard time if raccoons were in my yard. They're like, oh, that's cool. I like you guys. And then don't fucking kill the chickens.
You like them until you trap them and take them to the Home Depot and release them in the back.
Yeah. I've had consistent struggles with them. But like if you're in a camp area or something and there's a peanut in the neighboring camp area, that's cool to see them.
On your terms.
They're cooler than look at them like that's what a javelina with a budget would do.
That's a big
if a javelina won the lottery, it would get like a fucking cool new tail.
Yeah, some fucking dark shades.
Yeah, put some shades on.
We had a coyote get one of our chickens the other night.
Was it how many you so you have a pen of them now, right? Is that a new crop?
Yeah, we have my son has he had 4 out back, and then those ones just had 3 babies, and Coyote got in and got one of them, not the babies, one of the big ones.
Oh, that would have been. I mean, well, you had your live feed of the those all, you know.
So,
part
Chad,
of it.
the coyote got in your yard?
Yeah,
In
right
the-
in the backyard, and then dug a hole underneath the fence.
Yeah.
At a
To
vulnerable
back?
spot, and got one of the chickens and drug it out.
You think he'll come back, right? Won't he come back till he?
Well, it was a mistake on our part. We had one spot that was vulnerable to get in. We shored that up with rock. My son.
What if you scraped all that shit off of the road and put it in that corner to spook it?
He'd have to eat through that to get to the chicken.
The coyote comes in there and goes, "Oh man, there's a fucking homeless person sitting over here. Better find another yard."
That chicken's already eaten.
My son, he's such a pacifist. It's funny. He's like, I'm gonna stay up all night and just keep guard on a chickens out here. And he's like, I'm gonna shoot it. And if it comes over here, and
Shoot it in the shoulder.
Pacifist?
Well, and then a couple hours later, he's like, that coyote was just, doing what it does. I don't want to shoot it. He was like, can I just scare it off? And I go, well, son, think about it from this perspective. I go, if you stay in a tent out there in the backyard and you wanted to kill it, I go, you'd have to leave your tent open because opening the zipper would scare it the fuck off.
Yeah.
So scaring it away would be a lot easier than killing it. So yeah, scare it away. It's easy. You don't have to kill it. So.
You already
Yeah.
did it. In fact,
Yeah.
you were sitting out there.
I have a security camera set up on it now that I can hit the motion detector, and I can hit a siren that will scare away the any predators
Or immigration.
You have you have it on the chicken coop or in the yard? The camera.
The chicken coop right now. Well,
Hey, don't make him give away all of his camera.
I have a few of them, but yeah. Yeah,
Because watching chickens, I could do that.
well,
forever.
I've done 2 Twitch streams of the chickens
Yeah.
in the last week, because I've been just sitting watching them, and I was like, this is fucking relaxing and cool.
Yeah.
Because the ones in the back, we didn't expect it, but she started sitting on the eggs, so we let her sit on them, and she hatched 3 baby chicks. So those are fun as shit to watch, just run around in the back. And so I set up the GoPro back there and just Twitch streamed them, the baby chicks just running around back there. It's pretty cool.
I sent Chad a picture. 'Cause I put it on my iPad or whatever. I have devices. I used to have vices. Now I got devices that I got on my iPad. So I just set it in there, and it's like real soothing. I think you had doves in around there too. It's like doves and little chickens. And my cat sat up and stared at it and watched it for about 15-20 minutes. As long as I let her. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like, well, I mean, if I were a TV executive and I wanted cats to watch TV, I would like, Chad, I want 15 episodes of this thing.
We're greenlighting this.
We're already selling it.
Hey, have you considered adding some black chicks to it just for, we gotta have He does. You have a black chicken, don't you?
The little baby ones are black, and the big ones.
Is that any sort of controversy with the parents? How did
I think chickens can mix it up. I think like 2. I don't know.
What's funny is the rooster that we have is a midget.
Oh, you got to ban them?
Yeah.
Nice.
So sometimes I'll check the security camera and I'll watch the little tiny rooster humping the big fat hens, and
fuck those big bitches, man. When you're a little Bantam rooster, you get to do that shit.
Yeah.
Nobody will stop you. And the other chickens will just sit around waiting for their turn. That's the cool thing about chickens is like, I mean, if you're doing that is usually it's like one rooster or they'll have trouble with each other, right? I don't know shit about chickens, but I would say if you had two cocks in the same area, they'd both be trying to bone the same chickens.
Well, I mean, yeah,
that's
your
them.
hens get abused if you have too many. You know, one rooster can hump a lot of hens, so you don't need too many roosters.
Yeah, that's what all these turkeys around here. It's like too many dudes.
Too many roosters would be a good name for this podcast.
A lot of cocks.
A lot of cocks.
Bunch of
It's been a fun episode so far, you guys. 15 minutes on dog shit and
chickens.
We might not be done. We might circle back to the dog shit. So
it's very educational, and I'm sincere right now. I've already learned a lot, so I like it.
This is like when we should ask for hey man, if you can help support our podcast, get on the Patreon. Because we do it at the end, and then it's like sometimes people go in and eat a bunch of buffet, and then they'll take off before the bill drops. I think that's what happens. We go at the end of our episode. People are like, "Oh, I'm full," and it's like when the collection plate comes out at church or whatever. It's like some people got to go to the bathroom right before it comes around.
You don't want to get in the parking lot when everybody's leaving, man.
You got to get out of there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, there you go. That's it. $5.
Dog shit and chickens ain't dog shit.
We'll buy dog shit, hucking gloves, and
no, you get those at the store.
Well, I'm saying that's what we're going to use the money for, so that you.
Oh yeah. In theory, but wink, wink. I get those.
That's right. You.
Yeah, I'm like, look, man, I go to the store and I'm picking out peanuts to give to the squirrels upstairs. And I use a glove and then I hang on to that glove. So I'm not, skin on shit.
Oh, that's right.
That's
right.
Yeah. You're like recycling. You're like reusing.
Yeah. That's what I didn't understand. I mean, when I described that before, it sounded like I was just frivolously adding to the plastic waste. It was like, man, well, I'll just, I'll wear the glove all day till I pick up shit. But I try to incorporate it. Like I'm going to the store. Oh,
yeah. You'll go to the bulk bin and use the gloves at the Safeway or whatever your store is. And then you'll continue to wear that glove to check out and to go drive home.
Yeah. Like Michael Jackson. I got a, rubber glove on, and then, and then I get home. And look around for the dog squats.
and then after you pick up the shit with it, if you turn it inside out and put it back on, you can use it one more time.
Well, sometimes I'll put it into a watering can, figuring why not? It's just a little fertilizer,
That's not what it is.
But it's not on vegetables, man. I'm talking about flowers.
It's not fertilizer at all.
It's not fertilizer. That's.
Hey, blame big dog food, because that should be they're just like us, and they should just shit, and it should be cool.
No, what should happen is
you were right.
What should happen? It should be responsibly disposed into a trash receptacle, so it goes to a landfill. Right?
Fucking land
or tucked into the public property. And
clearly that's what's happening.
50%
of this podcast has a problem.
Have to pick it up.
How come like bats, for instance, bats shit and people want that. Horses shit and it's cool to put on stuff. So why wouldn't your man's best friend be able to take a shit and for you to crumble it up and put it on a rose bush?
Because their bellies are built different.
Oh man. All right.
Bat guano was a thing that divided the world, man. I mean, bat guano was so valuable that they were conquering areas and getting islands that had all this shit. And you can't even begin to think that that's the same as dog shit, right?
Well, like goats, because the way the goats process the shit that they eat in their stomachs, that's the only good thing that I liked about the goats is you don't even have to wait for goat shit to compost. You can put goat shit right on your plants.
On your breakfast cereal.
As
that'd be cool though, like you saw through if you had a big enough straw. Like hit somebody in the back with they're like little pellets, right?
Yeah. Well, until your goats get old and start dying, then they're just like like dog shit rocket turds, but made of pellets.
The Erickson, this is on you.
Then you,
'Cause
then you
you
should.
brought-
Then I think people that usually take them to the vet or something. Except I don't know. I don't take goats to the vet.
You could get them to shit in a box like Stanhope did. He shit in a box and
Stanhope shit in a box.
That's what I
Are you
heard.
talking about
Shit in
the
a
chicken
goat?
drop?
Well, no, I think you can shit and send it off, and then hear what
Cologuard.
what
That's
origin your
different.
family is, and find out if you send your shit off and go, oh, I'm 23%, and 23% German.
42% silverback gorilla.
23% German.
I don't know if he's done the Cologuard yet. He had the box there before we went to Canada.
There's no point in doing the Cologuard. There's no point in it.
What? Why?
Because you just go get the colonoscopy. Because
I agree. It's not
because
that big
they're
of a deal.
just going to tell you, hey, you might want to get a colonoscopy, and then you're going to get the colonoscopy anyway. So now you've just done two things instead of one. You've made a two-step process out of what should be a one-step process.
And
Two
you're
steps.
someone who's shit in a box
Andy's right.
and got a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Exactly.
But Stanhope's gonna get 15-20 minutes out of shitting in the box.
That's probably true.
And
Well, that's the thing is it was there in the hotel room when I went out there, and I look at the box and I go, "Are you gonna do that?" Or it's usually like you get it and you do it right away and forget about it. Go on with your day. I go, "Why is that here? And why am I here looking at that?" Because I think he sees me as a problem solver and kind of a technical guy, and I go, "This is really a solo job, really."
Yeah.
Maybe he's thinking
hotel
like,
room's the place.
Yes.
well,
Place box on floor.
With all the
That's-
colors I read.
Place butt
That's
box
not
above
it,
box.
Firmly in hand.
Oh my
I guess
God.
what they do is they take we never opened it because then he got embarrassed and was like, well, I'm not going to do it with you here. It's like, well, you had the box out here. I'm not going to not say something. But I think they take a cling film and stretch it over the seat and you hover like you're in a bus terminal and drop it down on the, like a juggalo. Yeah, I'm not really sure because I just went and got a colonoscopy.
It happens in juggalo shit.
Well, I mean, come on.
What if you used it like a party game and set it up like across the hotel
It
room
seems-
and tried to
Oh, yeah.
liquid shit it in from
that'd be fun,
like
like
4 feet
it's-
away.
It seems like a prank to me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
short sheeting a bed, like you fucking,
Well, I mean that's a classic prank is a cling filming the toilet, putting the seat down, and then it goes all over their shoes.
Mhm.
Worse for the ladies.
You just send your shoe in the box.
yeah.
I got most of it on the shoe, so I
Yeah.
figured this would be the
Just
best
a
way.
shit-filled shoe. Here you go.
But you also stepped in dog shit before you sent the shoe off. So
Hey, get your dog
False
checked.
positive.
yeah, you don't have colon cancer, but you do have worms.
Yeah, I think that's a fucking. I think you're right on that. It's like just an industry. It's like, you know what? Let's convince people they won't have to get a colonoscopy by sending in shit, and we'll go, oh my, well, you better go get that looked at.
Now you have,
and how they're
and
gonna?
not only that, but now you have 6 weeks of terror because the Cologuard people told you better go get a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
And you have to schedule it, and now you think, oh, they told me that because they fucking definitely saw something bad. Just get the colonoscopy and be done with it.
There's nothing bad inside of a person. Come on.
Oh,
If your
still
belly
milking
hurts,
this whole
if your
cancer
belly
thing.
hurts, it's probably just your belly hurting.
Probably all that Dr. Thunder you've been
More
pounding
Dr.
down.
Pepper, yeah.
I fucking hope. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why I don't qualify for Roundup because I really didn't. I'll still to this day.
The class action lawsuit
I know
against
it, yeah.
Monsanto.
Yeah, because I got cancer. It come from somewhere. I didn't have it, and then all of a sudden I had it. Come on, Moderna. Come on, Moderna.
There's not a
Come on.
made in Italy tag on your cancer, though. I mean,
Well, but nobody knew cigarettes cause cancer until
everyone knew.
Wait,
except
somebody had the nerve to go, hey,
whoa.
I think there's cigarettes might be the reason I'm smoking these through a hole. Yeah.
These might
Right.
not be so good for you.
Dr. Pepper's been around and people have been dying for years.
So no one died before Dr. Pepper?
Well, I'm saying people have been dying, but Dr. Pepper's been a big part of our lives. And if I got cancer, what do you know? I eat cake very infrequently. I have ice cream maybe once or twice a month. So Dr. Pepper's really the only thing that I could get cancer from.
Did you get the jab before you got cancer?
But I got cancer about an hour and a half after the first injection.
Case study, man.
Yep.
I got the first jab and then I got cancer. So I mean, like, God damn it. I was all funky cold Moderna. Fuck them.
I don't think there's a class action suit for that, but you can probably get a Senate seat somewhere.
Yeah, dude, you could definitely fucking make some money.
Man, that's fun. That dude got George Santos. It's funny because he's a fucking he's like that character on Saturday Night Live John Lovitz played. He's like the most unbelievable wild liar. Like, dude,
you're talking about it's the ticket.
Yeah, that's the ticket. I played volleyball. In fact, we won the state. Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's like, no, you didn't. Okay, all right. Come, it's just like, it's like my brother Larry. I think he would have been a better person had he had more challenge to his bullshit. And he only learned how to do fucking lies good enough to get my mother, Well, like, no, that next level shit's the one that convinces cops to, that's what he didn't have because he was stunted.
Well, that's it too. He also gained false confidence in his lying abilities because he was having such a high success rate with your mom. He's like, oh, I must be really good at this. But
yeah.
What he didn't factor in is that your mom was just very gullible.
Yeah, like my mom one time she smelled marijuana, and it was because I was blowing it out my window. Her window was directly below mine, and she come out and up there, and she said she smelled pot, or maybe there's a skunk outside. So I was like, I think it's that one, it was that one. And then I even went outside. I was all high, not really, probably very, I mean, I remember being high, but now that I know how low that THC must have been, I don't know, it's probably like 8 or 9. But anyway, my mom, that was enough. I went out and go, wow, maybe so. And I went out and I don't see anything, with a flashlight or whatever. And but I knew my
hot.
Well, but my mom was like, well, that's fucking pretty, I mean, I'm glad I kept bullshit, at least.
Why didn't you pretend that you saw the skunk with the flashlight?
Oh, that would have been good. Like, I could have come back in,
Yeah, it's like, oh, he just beat it into the bush.
He was pretty high.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Were you saying the THC was 8 or 9?
Probably.
Or you were 8 or 9?
No, I didn't. I didn't think started smoking weed. I started drinking with a friend down in California. Not really a friend, more of the DJT to my EJ E-Gene. Anyway,
he was your guardian while you were out of state. Yeah.
Yeah. So
to cross state lines.
I think so. I got back, from that shit. I drank, but I drank quietly, and what I could smuggle back or whatever, I'd run out pretty quickly, and I didn't really know how to go about getting any except what grandma had in her, cabinets or whatever. But I had trouble getting booze and shit. And then I it was just like kind of I don't know why I didn't get, I mean, I knew people were partying and shit. And it was I think it was the end of my freshman year going into my sophomore year that I went and partied. And that's when I drank a bunch. I smoked weed. I put a dog in a football jersey, and the dog was a dog that they were like, how the fuck, it was like a dog that wouldn't let you fuck with it. And somehow drunken, newly high, I dressed a dog up in his
But the
shirt.
dog that was like a terror, like a junkyard dog.
It was like
all of a
big-
sudden, drunk and high Andy has this, crazy confidence that no one else has ever had. And
Well,
he puts a fucking Coquille Indians jersey on.
Coquille Red Devils, but then the weird part is that I sat.
The weird part.
Well, all this shit, it's like, this is my, like the dude I partied with before didn't give me a report of all the weird shit that went on the night before. He kept it pretty close to his vest.
Yeah, he wasn't telling a lot of people, except for the people in his real tight ring.
So this was my first debriefing. That's the wrong term for it. Anyway, they were telling me what happened the night before, and I had put this dog in a shirt, and then I sat and watched television with his folks after hours, and I was naked and just hanging out. Watching.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. What?
That's
with his parents.
Yeah, I didn't even remember them, when they got there. But
parents,
it was probably.
Didn't do anything about a naked.
I was just in a chair.
14-year-old on their couch. They just watched TV with that naked,
blind, drunk,
and high.
That's what was reported back. So
different time, guys.
Different time.
Apparently, no, this was in the so there's some like, if I had a real therapist, it'd be like, oh my God, let me get another notebook. I gotta go to Office Depot to get another notebook.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man.
Because that's the first time I really drank with friends out of the gate, I get blackout and sit naked with older people.
I guess you just go to your thing, like that's your go-to move.
The next morning, I'm like, wait, man, where's my money?
Well, he'd already been naked with his the first person he'd gotten drunk with, who
that's
pictures of him. So he was like reverting to that.
I guess I was a little pro, I did that blackout.
You're probably asking those.
Yeah. I see it now.
You're probably asking those parents, like, why aren't you taking?
How come no one's touching me?
Why aren't anyone taking?
Hey, am I working in beta? Where's the camera? Which angle?
Where's my number one? Is this over here?
Let me get this thing greased up so we don't have to waste a lot of tape and post.
This kid's a real pro. I like working with him.
Two camera, huh? All right.
Wow, that was a good pull on that one, Erickson. That's probably it. It was a muscle memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get drunk and then your pants come off.
Pants come right off.
and no big deal that it's an adult in the room.
No, that's exactly who should.
Part 3. Step 3.
Yeah. I kept asking, who's the woman? Is she a producer or what?
This is you.
She's gonna have to leave the room, of course, when this thing gets heated.
Yeah, and by the way, you owe me a second tracksuit if I got to do anything with the dog. I'll do it, but I get a second jogging pants.
Yeah, actually, I didn't realize that's why I was putting on the Adidas, but that does tie that one together there. I didn't get invited to parties for a while.
Actually, after that, any party that you got invited to is one you probably shouldn't attend.
Yeah. My folks don't want you coming over anymore.
Yeah. And I got to ask, Andy, these were your friends who let you like wander around drunk?
I think they probably
with parents.
Chaille, wait, but Andy, before you answer,
well, my shirt was on the dog.
Wait, Andy, hang on. Let me just answer for Andy for a second. In that, Chaille, your question of these are your friends who let you just wander around naked and do whatever. That is exactly what we have done with Andy at any party he's been at. We just let him wander around naked doing whatever he does.
No, I know.
We have a good laugh.
Not
about
at the age of 14, though. When we
were 14, but his friends are 14 as well, so it doesn't seem as weird to them.
And my friends were probably
would see that and go, "Is this who you're hanging out?" They would get fucking pissed.
My friends were probably crying crying in a corner because they got fingered by the principal. That's the thing. I didn't know at the time.
Andy looked more together, more involved.
Yeah, I came back.
He was cool.
I thought I'd gone off to Vietnam and coming back from that, all my buddies got shelled right there at home.
Man, wild town, Coquille, Oregon.
Yeah. Well, I traveled. I was on the traveling team.
Yeah, you were good. You were one of the top prospects.
Yeah, you did road work though.
Yeah, I sure wish
original road dog.
I didn't like ever losing to my brother Jeff. That would have been one I could have lost.
He beat you at everything.
Yeah, if I would have known what that contest was, I would have take Jeff, man. I'll even buy him some cologne. I wonder if that's what. I wonder if he smelled as a youngster, and that might have been like, okay, I want to molest this kid, but he's.
But he's stinky.
Yeah, well,
you think that would be the deal breaker for
I think it's just that Andy, you were just really cute and you were younger, so it's like
I think it was an Erickson.
That's a better.
No, I mean, it's like it's like the odometer on. I'm 2.5. He took 2.5 years off,
right?
And you got the same fucking parents who seem to have no clue about what anything, like they were fucking put him on a plane or whatever. So he had them hooked. So it's like, what else is in the what else you got there, Bill?
It's so fucked up that they never really I mean, did they ever really ask you about what you did while you were there? Like
the time to do
like
it.
Lie about like, well, I need your boys to come down and help me, spread some rocks in my walkway. I just need someone to help me do there was no cover story. It
was just the same old shit though. It was the same old, I'm going down. I was like a kid, playing with my dolls and shit. And then I'm going on a trip to help Uncle Pat who, it's like that. When you got an honorary uncle, it's like somebody's fucking some kid. There's no honorary uncles.
But that's
you're an uncle or you're not.
Yeah, but
there's no uncle with benefits. The benefit is all right. You get him 2 weekends. Every time he's got a vacation from school. Uncle with benefits.
My kids have honorary uncles, but we never fucking sent them off to fucking give them tracksuits.
Yeah. Your kid comes home in a tracksuit. What? You win a contest.
Kind of weird too, because it's not like you had two like working parents. Like your dad was a high profile attorney, and your mom was teaching kids to read over at the church that they were busy. I mean, your dad was a shut in. And your mom was there until she, braved to take the car somewhere to, hopefully.
What I would be curious about is like what they did. Like they would, a couple of the flights were out of Coos Bay.
Like a regional airport? Or?
Yeah, it was like, Coos Bay had a real small airport, but it got me down to Molestationville. It was a one-stop get on.
Well, that should have been a giveaway right there. I feel like that's a red flag when the plane lands in Molestationville.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Once?
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't have known.
How unconcerned could they be when they didn't even look that you were flying into Molestationville?
So I could see them getting home on that trip. Those trips, like without maybe having any conversation about anything. But then there would be trips to Medford because I guess Coos Bay lost their air. However it happened, whatever. But that's a longer drive.
The plane got a flat tire, and that was the end of your airport.
Right. So so it was like a 5-hour drive down to Medford. So it was like, it's like my dad didn't like going, it's just like, what the fuck, man? I mean, I feel like he must have had comportment on my dad. It's like, how the fuck did my dad lose a poker game?
Yeah.
What you meant, I think, is compromat.
Yeah.
Which is the word.
I knew I was gonna fuck that.
The Russian word.
Yes.
In Palo Alto, it's called comportment.
Oh man, what I love is that it's a 5-hour drive that your parents have to, drive you to go get tested. Like I used to drive my daughter on Saturday mornings from Peoria to St. Louis to train with a soccer goalie because it was like she, and then eventually both of us lost interest in doing that drive. And that was kind of the end of it. We did it for a season or two.
Yeah, my folks are like, hey, get in the car.
It would have been a sweet, beautiful irony if your parents would have saved you from molestation by being like, look, we're not driving you to fucking Medford, all right? Like,
5 hours, right?
5 hours, no way.
At least it could have fizzled out.
Way.
My dad could have said, look, I know you like dating older, but we're not doing the drive. And that would have been totally in character. But it's like, we do these drives, and then it was like to get, I would help him with his videotaping business, gather evidence, or get compromising photos or whatever of other people. But it's like none of that was discussed or anything. And I would like, what the fuck? I'm thinking about it now. It's like, was I some sort of little fashion? Like, hey, I didn't even know I needed school clothes. This is like going into 6th grade was my first, go to fly down and get money for school clothes. Like, well, what did I wear last year or whatever? And then I would have to, it's like, isn't buying school clothes your job? Why am I going down getting, fucking compromised so that I got $100 for school clothes?
Well, and your parents would be like, this is what is a teachable moment, son, and this is you're going to learn about ROI, return on investment.
Yeah.
See, it would cost us $300 to send you all the way over there to make $100. So we're not going to do that. Instead, we're just going to buy you $100 worth of clothes, and you're going to stay home. Okay. Thank you very much. Good job. Lesson learned.
It would have been like a relief to find a box that had like, receipts and stuff, and like $500 received, like
you were worth it.
Well, I mean, nobody wants to think of their dad as a pimp, but nobody wants to think of their dad as a bad pimp. Like, I can take it. I did the, I get it. You set me off, heartless motherfucker, doesn't talk, and let me hold the money. We're gonna hold the money.
$1,000. All right, Dad.
But he didn't get shit for it.
I can see it.
It was part of a ring. And
he got a used car.
A bigger thing. Yeah. He had a bigger deal going on.
Send me down to this guy. Does he even have distribution? Come on, Dad. If I'm going to be a little actor, and I'm doing the tough scenes, I just feel like there should have been a box of money at the end of it.
Yeah, well, that happens to a lot of child actors. A lot of child actors.
Yeah, there was a box of money. It just ended up in the lawyer's hands.
I guarantee you it would have been, you would have priced out, and he would have just gone to someone else. Because that guy didn't have a lot of no problem.
Yeah, well, it wasn't as competitive in the Silicon Valley back in those days.
Yeah. I mean, it's all tits and ass now, but that in the Silicon Valley.
Yeah, now
slobbered on myself.
A compromised 12-year-old would. Can you imagine what a compromised 12-year-old would be worth to a tech? Oh my God. Yeah.
I got to make a drink.
Well, this is a shit molestation and chicken episode.
I was just looking the other day. My cousin had sent me a picture. I have a picture of me shirtless at 14. And I was like, holy shit, I was a fucking scrawny little bastard. But I was so uninnocent at that age. As I was.
You'd already banged a chick, right?
At 13.
13, yeah.
And I started drinking pretty heavy at 13. That was when I had a regular buyer of alcohol. The older brother of the chick I started banging.
Yeah, I would use Chad's childhood as a cleanser. Just to wipe the filth off of my childhood with another filthy childhood that didn't cause any internal damage.
But my point was, I look like just an innocent baby. You know, when I look at this picture of me at 14, I'm like, that's fucking insane to know that, you know, what I had already done. And
yeah, I'm sure whatever age, you know, like I was immature for my age. At least that's what my mom said in kindergarten. And then, you know, so 5th grade, going on into 6th grade or whatever, you know, I mean, it was before that, because I had a scout picture that he wanted, showed particular interest in getting
We've seen that picture.
Of. Yeah. You know, I mean, a man in uniform or a boy in uniform who, you know what, you know, fucking
who could resist?
Weird.
He would like make requests for items of yours in your house.
Well, he wanted school pick. No, he never came to my house. My older brothers would have sniffed it out. Probably. I mean, you know, he wouldn't, you know, it was all about one-on-one and whatever deals he worked out or whatever.
Sure.
That I don't even really know how that worked. You know, I could have left the phone off the hook and avoided it or whatever. Maybe I kept a you know, bigger, you know, closer look on the mailbox. It was like I was a mail order. I won't say bride, but you know, he would, you know, send a letter, and then that letter would be like, fuck, and it was all fucking, you know, he was like a travel agent. Hey,
so he corresponded with you through the mail.
He would send,
things.
He would send a letter out with the itinerary of the trip. So I don't know. So it was all, by then it was all.
That's also part of it, because
I didn't save those. I would have.
I mean, not only is he abusing you and grooming you the whole time, but he's also grooming, if that's the right word, grooming your parents. Like,
no, yeah, they got
is all part of it, because, you know, you know, we've talked about this before. It was a different time. We've seen that story of the other documentary of the family that just got completely duped and, you know, just kept giving their kid over to, you know, like your parents,
the whole family.
Yeah. Your parents got tricked, but then, you know, sending a full itinerary is like part of it, because to people like your parents, that makes it seem like, well, this
typed out, and, you know, like hand signed.
He seems like a smart guy. He's got things going on. There's things that are in order. There are times written down. Like, this guy's really got his shit together, and our young son is you know, is going to do well to be mentored by this.
We're so lucky we have found this person.
Right.
He didn't write any poems or anything. You're loving. I can't wait to get my claws into you again.
So Andy, did he live in Palo Alto or down in
yeah. So I'd get picked up in San Francisco or Oakland.
Yeah.
And it was all.
It just seems so weird that it's like there are no other kids that would be able to do this. No,
right. That's as crazy that, you know, like, yeah, of course, there's a million people around him that he could have hired.
But it all came about. It all came about from him being in the same hospital room as your dad, right? And they
were friends in a hospital.
So that's how it happened. So once he became friends with your dad, he realized, oh my God, this guy. It talk about the fucking gold mine, you know.
Well, he saw
the kids at home.
It's like, oh my God, the Swedish bikini team is.
Well, it's like you don't know when you wander into the fucking, you know, the monster range. But my brother, I remember my brother was on those first few trips down there, and then I stayed in Coquille, and so Jeff got the gig. Went down there, and then I went down there, and then, you know, I didn't realize I was, you know, being oh my, you know, I mean, I did. It's like I probably, you know, was turning him on from the get-go and not even realizing, you know, I had a natural way of prancing around into a room.
You didn't even know back then that you were actually the headliner. You thought you were a feature, but
you thought you were just
closing the show, dude.
Yeah, and
you're who they came to see.
But I signed. Yeah, I shouldn't have signed the contract. But This isn't really changing the subject. I was watching a show on the Menendez brothers, and you remember the Menendez?
Absolutely.
They murdered their parents who they sexually molested, or
Well,
the old
they
man was
claimed
a
that they were
rapist.
sexually molested.
They claimed it, and then in the second trial, they disallowed any of that, and they were convicted of it. Now there's this new documentary. The old man Menendez was a record executive, and one of his big acts was Menudo.
Yeah.
And the manager of Menudo, he just, he started a boy band to fuck the boy band, and they would alternate. Once they turned 16, they would get out of Menudo. But the old man of the Menendez raped one of Menudo. So this guy's coming forward and now telling his story, and it may help these guys get out of prison finally for shooting. The old man definitely had it coming. And but all that shit that they said in that first trial was true. The old man fucking raped them boys on a regular, even as they were adults. So
Really,
yeah,
I had heard that, but I never knew what to believe, because those kids were also such douchebags that they were like buying. Didn't they buy like?
If you killed your rapist, yeah, they killed their rapists, and they were like, "Fuck yeah, we got rid of the old man." And
card up, fucking.
Well, I mean, it looked pretty bad.
That's what looked bad, but yeah, but if you look at the testimony of those guys and stuff, they were legit cracking and shit. I mean, we've since seen Kyle Rittenhouse attempt to cry in court.
Yeah.
And but these guys were legitimately fucking cracked. And then in the second trial, they disallowed any mention of any of that shit. But the crazy thing now is this dude in Menudo got taken to their house, and the old man raped him. So they're all kind of witnesses.
Well, look what a couple of those guys are wearing.
Isn't this what's his name? That's a famous.
They did have
Ricky Martin.
Ricky Martin was in that group. Yeah. They were just like fucking. Probably the only one who had the guy in front probably was in the band another 3 years, and all those other dudes are like, all right, out.
Aged out. Yeah.
I spotted pubic hair. Get out.
Get out of here.
I think the guy in the hat on the far.
Hey, sorry, man, we're Latin. The mustaches come in early.
I've had it since I was 4.
So the guy who runs that group was just like fucking creepiest. He would get them, he'd find them from poor families, sign them to contract, groom the families. Here's some money coming in and shit. Kids are going off to do these concerts, making millions of dollars for this guy, and he's raping them.
This is another example of how you ultimately got fucked over.
I know. I should have been in Menudo.
Look at all the outfits they got, Andy.
I know, man. I could have fucking
crushed that. You would have absolutely. If we could, I know we have
signed by Reuben Kincaid, and I needed to go.
I know we have the picture somewhere, so we'll put it up on the Patreon at some point. But that picture right there, Chaille, if we put Andy's picture of him. In
the top hat, in the straw hat,
his Cub Scout outfit, where he's like swinging his hip. There's
with the bat.
Oh yeah, we got the baseball bat picture.
I could be the tough guy of the group. Like, let's go, girls.
No, you were swinging the bat like you were not. You were on the girls' team.
I think what happened is I was supposed to be a happy gay man. And then I got sent off to the creepiest fucking introduction.
We've talked about this.
Yeah.
If you had not been molested, you would have just been gay, and you would be super rich. You would be an interior designer. You would have this amazing life, and nothing would make you happier than just being, enjoying nice things. And just
are you grooming me?
You would probably be partnered up with Pete Buttigieg. And you'd have a child. Your husband would be Secretary of Transportation.
No, I'd be like the bitch at Kill Tony's house. You're like, oh, that fucking bitch, I can't stand him. He's not gay, right?
Tony Hinchcliffe?
Yeah, I was making a gay joke about Tony, man. Even if he is, nonetheless, we all drink an ultra now and then.
So again, you guys, if you haven't joined the Patreon yet, you should. And if you go back and listen to the old episodes, I think probably within the first 20 episodes, maybe 20 or 30 episodes, we dove deep on Andy should just be a happy gay man. Had he not,
but he killed. The thing is,
he killed
all
all
urges,
man. Yeah.
He, I was watching that Marilyn Chambers thing and it transformed me watching, he could have, he didn't even get like he was trying to seduce a boy and he rents straight porn. It's like, dude was, like red flag after red flag is a bad date, let alone, it's like, why don't you ask the boy hey, would you rather see two men wrestling or some girl who just gets in the way of a construction worker? This road's closed.
Absolutely. Could have been like Peter Graves in Airplane, right? The pilot.
Right. You like films with gladiators, Timmy? You like it when men wrestle? Yeah, that's probably one of those normalizing when I watch that movie. It's like, hey, that's interesting. I know. Rewind that. No, pass the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Know that.
Yeah.
Right. Erickson, I just like cleaned out a bunch of old photos from all the photos that I put up here in the little area, and one of them was one of those that Andy. I don't know. I put it on the hard drive somewhere, so that's why I was looking for it. But
yeah, we'll find it. We'll throw it up. Look. You want to see the picture next to the Menudo boys? Join the Patreon.
Yeah, help me heal, help us heal.
Yes, we're on the road to recovery. It's only been
a road trip to recovery.
By the way, this is Menudo 5 right here.
Yeah, it is. Menudo Cinco.
I think.
Yes.
Like if you get 5, okay, so 2 of those guys were getting raped. 2 of them of the 5 per Menudo. Allegedly, they'd sleep with the dude and get cornholed and such. Became his, he was like a really fucking shitty, manager. One, they were all over the world. That's a crazy thing. Like that band blew up, and they were they were like a Taylor Swift of the day, making fistfuls of money for people. And I think from what I can tell, all they did was just like dance around and lip sync or fucking tuner.
Pretty much the whole boy band.
Every boy band.
Yeah. They were a Spanish version.
And like the American version of it, they would ride them out till they're all old and shit, and then they got to pay them for
or until they sued the manager, and then they went separate ways.
These guys were all interchangeable.
Famous for being
good. Ricky Martin probably was maybe the only big breakout of it, but I think that they were all equally fucking damaged by hanging out and being in this group and signing a contract that kept them fucking, like they do those photo shoots.
You gotta put these pictures up.
Yeah.
We're gonna look like we're running a different podcast than we're running.
Yeah, we're not
like,
for that.
Oh, really, Pete Townsend? You were just doing research?
The thing with
research.
The thing with Menudo is they just had one dreamy dancer after another, and beefcake.
There's no shortage of pictures like this. I got to tell you.
Oh yeah, that was the whole
all Tiger Beat stuff.
Well, that's what they said. That was what they said is why that guy was such. Why he was so good at what he did was he had the same taste as a 12-year-old girl. So that's a lot of the fucking marketing from Menudo.
Oh, here we go. I gotta. Where are they now?
Might need to go back into the dog shit discussion.
Yeah. Well, you got to walk around and step in the same place again.
Here's the original Menudo now.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
The guy in the top right corner is not looking at the camera at all.
He might be
like
blind.
He's in a different picture. Yeah, he's struggling in
life.
When
all of them tell their story, it'll be, like right now, one of them's coming forward and saying, he's going after the fucking manager, but he also, is familiar with that other case and wants to help out there. But it's like, he's going around and talking to these, a few of the other members and shit. And, it's
That's crazy. I had heard about this Menendez thing that, you know, some people actually, after it was all over with, because they just sounded like they were just
I'm the same way.
little shitheads, you know, like, oh, these fucking white privileged little bitches were just, you know, they killed their parents because they're little cunts, and you know, they bought sports cars and watches the day after they did it and cruised around town. And then, you know, the people who said, oh, but you know, the parents were abusing them, everyone was like, no, that's just a standard defense that
yeah.
and, you know, and then I had heard that, oh, you know, maybe there is some validity to it, but I didn't necessarily believe that, because it seems like in a lot of these stories there's that same kind of backlash. Like the Scott Peterson story has that same sort of thing happening. Now, if you remember Scott Peterson, he's the dude who fucking
went
killed
fishing.
His wife on Christmas Eve and went fishing and dumped her fucking body in the lake. And you know, now there's this whole, you know, documentary series about how he was framed, and it just seems like bullshit to me. But you're saying that this whole Menendez thing, is actually this is a real.
He raped his own kids. Shit. Controlled them, abused them, and then you know,
probably the mom too.
There was something that came down where the old man was, you know, that they were gonna turn him in or something. So that was like fight or flight. They blasted the old man. They did do a little overkill on him. I don't, you know, it's funny. There's a sports card, you know, like sometimes they'll take an action photo at a basketball game for the sports card. And they're sitting courtside in the background of I can't think of the player, but the Menendez boy sitting courtside, and it just happened to be in a photo while they, you know, so they didn't do themselves any favors waiting for the trial.
I mean, there's you know, sitting next to Nicholson at a Lakers game.
Spike Lee.
I think it was in.
Oh, LA. I got the photo here.
Yeah. It's one of those cards that's famous only because they're sitting on.
Oh, it made it on a card.
Yeah, on this.
It looks like the 76ers, maybe. Can't tell. Here.
I think it was the Clippers, and it was there they are in the background. Yeah.
All right, Chaille, can you move out of the picture, Chaille, so we can see what's actually that's not that.
Yeah, that's them after their parents were murdered.
I believe that
it's a Mark Johnson.
That's Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson, yeah.
And I refuse to believe that was the Mark Jackson Topps basketball card, because that's just not a good. Maybe
it's a shitty one, but he wasn't a player.
NBA Hoops is the is here. I'll get it.
That card was worthless, even if it was a great photo. Except they got two murderers, or you know, victims of abuse.
They can be murderers too.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. I mean, I think you know, the old man definitely had it coming. The old lady had it coming.
Let's get deeper into this. We've talked about things we need to dive into. Now I'm super interested in this story. I knew nothing. This is fascinating.
Well, the dude from Menudo, his story totally backs up everything that those guys said. Everything.
That's the only thing that those kids never had was any sort of corroboration.
Right. They wouldn't have allowed.
That's what made them look like liars, because everyone was like, no, the parents are sweethearts.
Yeah.
You know?
These greedy kids.
You know,
and the old man, I mean, he was able to rape them till they were in their 20s. He would still, like, you know, so he had mental control over those boys and had them, you know. So it was like, I don't blame him at all.
I think that part of the problem, Chaille, you can come back now. I don't know if you've wandered off.
Oh no, I'm trying to find that one. I've got it. I want to show it to you because it's clearly a card.
But I think that part of the thing that also sunk the Menendez brothers was that they wow, that's crazy. That actually is a pretty good picture now that I see it, the whole thing.
Yeah. I can't believe you knew it was Mark Jackson by just seeing
I know my Knicks. Come on, man. That was
I don't know.
Late 90s or early 90s. That was the Bulls Knicks.
I was looking at the card and I said Johnson. I was even looking Mark at Jackson.
Point guard.
I just remember him from the Clippers. Didn't he play there?
Maybe. I think he coached for a while too. But I'm saying with the Menendez brothers, the thing that happened with them too is another thing that sunk them was that they killed the mom. And the argument was that, like, why, you know, if the dad is abusing them, why did they kill their mom? And
Well, and all that
I think that's an issue of, at the time that this story came out, we were still just learning about a lot of these abuse cases that, we never knew about this shit, like people didn't know. Just same with your story, Andy, like we're talking about, right? Like your parents had no clue, all this shit. Like it just wasn't a thing people knew was as prevalent as it is. And the mother being like complicit in it and just like a stooge. Like that didn't make any sense to anybody in the time that this trial was happening. But you look back on it now, and this thing that they would have used to convict these kids, the fact that they killed the mother too, is actually would now go right along with the story. Like, yeah, she's part of the problem, and they would have definitely viewed her as part.
They would have had a fighting chance, but I think they lied out of the gate. Right. So they were, I think Chaille's on mute. So they lied out of the gate,
I don't remember the particulars.
I would guess. I don't know that either, but I would assume because they weren't charged for a while, and then they had a chance to go live large off the folks' money. And,
well, I mean,
so there was they were looking at other people
money because the crime was unsolved.
Right.
They didn't. They didn't, no one believed, they didn't have to tell.
Yeah, they didn't have to come up with that story because nobody, they'd gotten away with it. And then when they got nabbed and then they're in court and then it's like, oh, okay, these guys, these guys that are partying on their, folks' estate.
And that's part, see, this gets more interesting. This is why we should do a deeper dive on this, because that is true. Like, if that is the case, then yeah, you would celebrate a little bit. It's like the fucking guy, in Goodfellas that, when De Niro told everybody to fucking play it cool, don't buy a bunch of shit, don't spend your money on a bunch of fancy shit. We just pulled this big heist. And then the one guy shows up with his wife with a fucking fur coat, and De Niro fucking, yokes him over into the corner and fucking reads him the riot act. Like, these kids got the suspicion turned toward Eric and Lyle Menendez, partly because of
their behavior.
They bought after their behavior afterwards.
Wow, these guys do not
now
care.
Their behavior afterwards is sort of explained in a new context in a new time where we kind of understand that it's what they were doing is not out of character for people in the position they were in.
Yeah. It's
true.
It's interesting.
Fucking kids.
Well, I mean, they were fucking.
They were adult. They were 20.
Adults.
One of them was in his 20s.
They were grown kids, but they were, it'll fuck you up if your dad's fucking you.
Yeah, no, if you're getting raped by your dad from the age of 5, you're probably about as mature as a 6-7-year-old,
I mean, this podcast is good. This podcast is good, but if the Menendez brothers have a podcast, we should definitely Patreon.
I guess it's weird what you consider a fucking kid as you get older too.
That is true too. I consider everyone I work with a child.
Because they're 30.
Because they're 30.
These the Menendez are about our age, or my age or so.
No, absolutely incorrect.
I think they're way 5 years younger. 5 years. I think it was. I can't remember the year that.
What?
No, they're younger.
They're younger than us.
Really? I thought they were like 40.
Looking it up.
Or 50 in their 50s. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're in their
55.
Really?
Yeah. What? Lyle is 55.
Oh my God.
Yeah, see, it was a while back that shit happened. And they've been in prison all that time because of the way that it was. I mean, if they would have gotten manslaughter, those guys would be out, partying again. Hey, I'm glad they had fun when they had a chance, because they've been locked up because they didn't allow that evidence. So these guys that, even if they got charged with, shooting their parents, they should have been out by now. That's what the gist of why this guy wants to come forward.
Fascinating.
It should. Yeah, because I when I started watching that, I was like, my memories of it were like I didn't even remember the sex abuse of it. And then when it started rolling, I remember the crying and the carrying on and thinking, you know, because they were found guilty, that was just a big facade and shit. And now looking at it going, oh man, their dad was a record executive who wrote fucking love letters to Menudo and handpicked the group and raped one of them. Yeah, the dudes they stayed in shape. They didn't get fat on prison food. Both of them still look like, you know, they're healthy.
You usually don't get fat on the prison food. It's something else that you can get in prison.
Yeah,
Doritos and Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, they do have good Dr. Thunder
Roundup.
But
when I hear stories like that, I think, oh man, maybe, you know, what happened to me was way less damaging. But it's like, it's all in the same bucket of you're kind of fucking should have just been left alone. Leave them alone.
Yeah, I mean, it really shouldn't be judged on degrees. It should be judged that it shouldn't have happened.
Right. Well, and it kind of, you know, I mean, the weird thing with this, you know, the trial with Eugene, what's her last name? I can't think of her last name.
Carroll, who accused Trump of raping her.
And from 30 years.
Civilly liable for sexual assault.
Right. And it makes me think in California where I got flew to and, you know, got the same kind of shit when, you know, I mean, I didn't get my panties pulled down in the dressing room only because he wasn't creative.
But also you were a child and she was.
But it made me think is like, I wonder what, you know, because that law changed and she was able to sue him. And I think that law, I mean, it changed in a lot of places where now if you were a victim of something, you can go, you know what, I'm going to
Yeah, but you're
roll
talking
the
about
dice on
something
this.
completely different because what you're talking about is the statute of limitations on a lot of abuse has been extended.
Yeah. So you go.
Is that because of COVID?
Yeah, because of COVID, Chaille.
No, because people.
But Trump was being charged civilly. So she was just suing him.
Right.
Which I think has a completely, you can sue somebody. There's no statute of limitations on suing somebody. You can sue somebody anytime you want.
Right.
You just might not win.
Criminal is what I'd want.
Right. Exactly right. But the
or 5 million.
The Trump civil trial is also to me fascinating because you know, I mean, all the partisan bullshit aside, he is clearly guilty of this. Like, the story that this woman tells is so exactly the way he would have raped a woman, and the fact that she has talk about corroboration. She told people about this right after it happened, a number of people, and it's been a driving force in her life.
Have you ever seen
30 or 40 years or whatever the fuck it was? You know, I mean,
have you ever seen anything like his deposition? Like anybody trying to win a court case for anything, his deposition was the craziest shit. And it's like anybody who was like, man, he should have won that. I was like, he fucking said he did it. He said he did
it. He said he did it.
He should have said yes, no.
His defense against Eugene Carroll was, she's not my type. He said, not my type. And then when they showed him a picture of her, they said, who is that in the picture? And he said, oh, that's my wife, my second wife, Marla. Like he missed.
And then seconds later, when they pointed that out,
you couldn't write a better way to make him look like he's lying.
Yeah. It's like a fucking watching a movie.
Yes.
And then when they go, that's actually they told him, and then he goes, oh, the picture's blurry. So you get a glimpse of like, okay, now he's telling an obvious fucking lie because everybody can see the picture and it's not blurry. So he goes, he gets to, I mean, he's like, okay, I mean, it's so, but that wasn't even the worst part of it. The whole, do you consider yourself a star? Yeah, sure. It's like, it's like, dude, what, you're supposed to say yes. No, I don't remember. I don't recall. And that's it. And he's like, fucking, like, and you can't, nobody's going to win when they said, yeah, if I raped her and she probably enjoyed it. Or, I don't know.
That is also another thing he basically said.
Yeah.
You put that picture up I sent you a week ago, because that was the picture, exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, I got to.
It's mind blowing to me that he fucking said the shit he said when he looked.
I think he just parties too much. I think he
has
does
been saying
enough
whatever
drugs
he
that
wants for so long that he has no idea what, like the whole thing about your brother Larry thinking he's better at lying than he is because your mom was gullible.
Same with him.
Trump's been lying for so long and just had enough money to get away with it that he has no concept of how bad he is at this and how obvious most people can see.
I watched a little of the town hall that's going on right now, and just out of the gate, he just refused. She goes, well, the election, you say that the election was, and he just it's not within it. He cannot fucking go there. I don't know how it's going to go. There was people cheering for some of the dumb shit or whatever, but the dude, that deposition, man, how could he have walked out of that thinking he didn't lose? I mean, that's like oh shit, I did order the code red. You wanted me on that wall. You need me on that wall. And then he's like,
there's going to be a lot of those moments. I think that
there was supposedly like a big there was a person who was a fan of the dude in the jury. And even he's like, he had to be like, oh, darn, he did say he's going to rape her, only Chad said he raped her.
I know Chad doesn't care about politics and all of this, and maybe he's not following the story. So that picture right that Chaille just put up, so that's Trump with his back to us. And that girl right over his right shoulder is E. Jean Carroll. And he was presented with this picture and they said, do you know who that is? Because he claimed they were trying to debunk his claim.
I caught that in context from what you said earlier, for
his
sure.
Claim
and
was,
I read the article earlier.
His claim was that he had never met her. He's like, I've never met this woman. And they're like, well, we have proof you've met her because here's the fucking picture of you meeting her. Do you know who this is? And they expected him to say, oh, yeah, that's E. Jean Carroll. And he said, oh, no, that's my second wife, Marla Maples. And then they're like, well, wait a minute. Didn't you just say that she wasn't your type? Like, marry the woman that you
so that's when the
who's this? Who's this? Oh, I can't.
That dude.
The middle guy, the photobombing guy?
Oh, the gal. The other one. I can't.
That's Marla.
On the far right?
Her,
that's his first wife. That's his first wife, Ivana.
All right.
So he was still married to Ivana. And you can see her looking at him like, you fucking asshole. I can already see you eyeballing this bitch.
Yeah.
Like you're going to fucking try to nail her.
And then he was, and then,
And the guy is.
She's like, I can smell your fucking fingers, you son of a bitch.
Shit. And the guy is E. Jean Carroll's husband.
So he had a pretty easy, he was like, that's what I think. He just fucking parties too much. It's like he can't even go into a deposition without fucking being too high to fucking, keep his shit together.
I honestly think he has so much billions of dollars that he thinks it doesn't matter what he says.
I guess, man.
Consequences, guys.
It's like syphilis.
It hasn't.
Right.
That's always worked.
And still won't.
Totally right. On some level it does, because he has some people who believe him no matter what now. And they think that everything that happens to him is just proof to them of the deep state trying to.
Well, that's the thing.
Probably still enough to elect him president.
It's possible.
That's the ridiculous thing.
It's possible. It's fucking possible.
That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, I would bet against it just because of all the shit. But it's funny how, like, his most loyal people or whatever, they don't care. And it's like, but does anybody care when a cult leader's banging chicks?
But it's pretty bad.
They're all like, fucking good, man. Bang my kid next. Here, man.
Hold them up like circle of life.
Yeah, it's getting good. I mean, that's the thing about it.
It's going to get interesting. I think that, not to go too deep into the politics of it, what's going to be really interesting, we've talked about this a little bit, when the thing that happened in Georgia comes to the courts. They're in a grand jury right now. Trump literally called the Secretary of State of Georgia and asked for a specific number of votes to be found. I mean, you couldn't be more guilty of trying to facilitate election fraud. I mean, you're on tape asking
Like
for
calling this,
one more vote than you needed to win. Like,
it's like calling somebody who's running the scoreboard at a basketball game and go, "Hey man, Philly's going to lose this if you don't put up 6 more."
I need 23 points right now.
Or maybe someone keeping stats courtside at a high school game.
Right.
It's
Hey,
weird
Clarence,
that
I
Andy
got
wasn't
you.
there.
Clarence has 15 rebounds. I got to take them from somebody.
Clarence isn't even dressed. Clarence has a pulled hamstring and he hasn't even played.
He's been out for 2 games.
They showed us like 2 weeks of irrefutable evidence every night on TV of stuff. Did they ever do anything with that yet, or did I miss it? I don't know yet.
Ultimately, I know you're right, but we are entering the wrestling cage match phase of American politics.
I'll still wait.
You know, like I get that there's no real effect.
Hey, there's got to be a head to every zit. There's got to be a head for sure.
I agree. Chad, I agree with your overall arching point, and that is that all of this is pointless, and you can't affect it, and you're a fool to fucking get too deeply involved.
We're all Jehovah's Witnesses in that.
But in this case, now it does affect us on a daily.
Yes,
it does affect us. But also it's also reaching this fucking crazy bad wrestling phase of like showmanship shit. Like, yes, when Obama was president, if you talked about, he had a controversy with guns on the border, you're like, listen, this is pretty boring, this is pretty boring. But now we're talking about some wild shit.
This is
wild.
This is a season that makes it worth it.
The president's a rapist. The next president of the United States of America is a rapist.
But it's
or a head sniffer.
But it's definitely to the point. Like I've deleted Twitter off of my phone.
Really? Wow.
Like I didn't delete Twitter.
Oh, okay.
I don't have it on my phone anymore. So like if I want to go on Twitter, I have to go to the computer, and so I have to make a conscious choice to be like, I'm going to go on Twitter. So
you have to jump through some hoops.
Do you know how retarded you have to be doing something and be like, I'm going to go on Twitter and get up and take like more than 2 steps and go and get on Twitter? Then you're just like, no, I'm not going to get on Twitter. So then you just don't ever do it.
Well, we started out bashing Matt McConaughey, and now I feel like we're bashing Elon Musk. And I would just like to say to my boss, I think Twitter's great, and I think everyone should be on it and practice their free speech.
I did not.
It's the other social media sites that.
My point is that it's nice to I don't disagree with you that this is fucked up and it does affect everything and all that stuff. My point is that you're not going to affect any change, or me. I'm not going to affect any change, especially screaming into a void like Twitter and consuming the information coming from Twitter is definitely not going to bring me personally any kind of peace. And right now I am barely fucking hanging on by a thread. So I have to step away from it for a bit. But I will step in once in a while because I fucking do socialize that way, and I fucking kind of miss everybody once in a while on there. So
I saw you jumped in on what were you on? You said something like you deleted Twitter, but you wanted to talk to people. Was it on the Reddit or was it on? You were somewhere.
Oh no, I joined Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, that's right. You signed up for our Patreon. Look, guys, look. If one of the members of this podcast is willing to plunk down $5 a month to be a member of our Patreon, then don't you think you should do it too? That seems like a pretty good testimonial. This guy knows what's there. He gets the material. He knows all the material.
He gets the script every
feels
week.
Like that material is worth $5 a month, and I think that's fair. And we did not ask Chad to do that. He did that of his own volition.
In all honesty, you guys, I did. I thought, I miss socializing with the people on social media, but I don't want to see the stuff on Twitter. Well, how do I do this? And I was like, I know how to fucking do it. And so I joined the Patreon, And then I figure I'll join. I go in there and I can get in the comments, and the people that are on the Patreon, I can see what they're up to, talk with them. And I don't know how to post pictures or anything.
Exclusive chat, chat rights.
Yeah,
Patreon.
we can.
Another
if there's a way to post pictures and stuff, I don't know yet, but I can. I can.
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that,
you can.
You
it's
know,
just like a regular message board.
Yeah, it'll be like the things that I would normally post on Twitter, I will post on there and then hang out with those people, and it won't be. And that way, I can socialize without having the garbage of Twitter.
People were very happy with your interaction on Patreon today. Because I get notifications from Patreon, so like even at work, I'm seeing like all of a sudden my Patreon notifications were fucking dinging, and I'm like, what's going on? And I'm seeing Chad Shank, and then I see Chad Shank has joined Patreon. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? And first of all, I still didn't know that like we've tried. I know we've tried to do this. Like all of you should have access to the Patreon. I think it's just Chaille and I that do, but you shouldn't have to pay, whatever.
Doug did the same thing.
So you
and then I see Chad has responded to this comment and to this other comment, and then I saw another comment that said, "Fuck yeah, Chad Shank's on the Patreon," and I was like, oh. Then I just was like, okay, everything's fine. I put my phone in my pocket. I went back to work. I'm like,
yeah, quit trying to fix stuff.
Fucking working. Well, I just didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
I'd never gotten that many Patreon dings in a couple of hours. Your engagement levels are through the roof, Chad.
So you guys have given all of us the access to the Patreon thing, but I was terrified to use it because I know I will fuck something up.
Shut it all
down on the back end.
Yeah, because that's like the main.
Where'd all the episodes go?
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I don't want that. That's the last thing I want is access that you have with that. So
admin level security.
Yeah,
I respect you.
I'm like, look, I'm gonna dump. It's a $5 investment from what I get from this. Yeah. I'm dumping back into this. It's my socializing. I'm off the Twitter.
That's your mental health feed.
Yeah.
So listen, everybody, if you are still on the fence about whether you should join Patreon, let me just tell you this. You could join. You could pay $5 a month to be on our Patreon, and then Andy could use that $5 that we'll give to him so that he could join the Patreon. He could also comment.
I don't like a lot of my Twitter friends.
We're talking Patreon right now.
They're not your friends.
Oh, I know. I'm saying Patreon would be.
Yeah, Patreon's way better.
Patreon's a safer space.
Private Twitter. Yeah,
absolutely.
Twitter's like a bunch of people who are like, we're all waiting to get a drink, and Patreon are like, hey man, we already got you a drink.
We're already in VIP, bro.
We've been waiting for you.
We got a private bar over here all the time. Yeah.
It only took us what are we 214 episodes?
Yeah,
215
figured out, dude.
Yeah, it took me a couple weeks of missing. After a while, I missed people on Twitter, and I was like, well,
I hope that you will always do your Monday motivations because I fucking love those things, and they're always good. It amazes me that you're as good at writing them as you are. Any question you've ever had about your ability as a comedian or a writer should be dispelled by your ability to basically take something that felt like it should have been about a 6-week process until you ran out of material, and you have been doing it for years, and it's still funny every fucking week. When I see it, I'm like, oh, god damn it.
It's one of the most consistent things I've ever done in my whole life.
Good for you.
I did one last week. I didn't think of one this week, so I didn't do one this week. But if I think of one, I'll still do it. I said I didn't delete my account, so if I think of one, I'll do.
You're good, man.
If I think of something to do on Twitter, I'll still be on there once in a while. But
I mean, you post them on fucking Facebook,
on Twitter.
Post them on Patreon. It doesn't matter where you post them. I'm saying that
Patreon only.
The writing, the thing that you get out of it is what's really the best. It's stimulating you. It's making you take some of the pain that you have in your head and pointing it in a direction of comedy.
Those are just fucking mean shit that fucking I say to myself. I don't know. That just comes.
That's what I'm saying. And it's also hilarious. So, it's a fucking win-win. Post them on Patreon, dude. Listen, we need to give these cocksuckers some more content for their $5 a month.
That was the other.
We're giving them the show for free now. So we're losing Patreon money every month.
It's like OPB, like their Patreon dollars goes to help other people,
right.
And like ideally we'd have like note cards or things to send out, OPB gifts, OPB ponchos or whatever, but that's the same philosophy.
What are you talking about?
OPP.
Like OPB does their.
Are you down with OPP? Is that what you're talking
about?
OPP,
Oregon
Public Broadcasting,
other people's property.
Yeah, no, you just go. Well, I mean, shit.
Why are you slinging lingo from the 90s?
OPB puts out quality program to this day, but not some people can afford to pledge and other people.
Are you talking about PBS?
Yeah, OPB though. OPB is Oregon.
Oh, it's OPB. What?
It's the same thing. It's
Oregon Public Broadcasting.
Oregon.
Jesus Christ, Andy. Context, man.
OPB.
I don't know if you know this, buddy, but not everybody lives in Oregon.
Opie.
OPB.
Yeah.
It's just Andy Griffith calling the people who live in his house.
Opie and B. Wow. Now that would donate to our Patreon, which is that would help. If you like that one, then there's more of those.
There's more of that.
Hey, Goober and Gomer, dude. Now do Goober and Gomer. Those guys was cousins, right? Goober and Gomer.
In real life.
I mean, they were cousins on the show.
Well, there were
piles.
You could be anything on the show.
I know, but they were,
hey, did you know they wrote him in as a cousin?
Yes. Goober and Gomer were both piles.
I'm sure there was a crossover on. That was one of my dad's favorite shows, and I think he always wanted me to join the army because of it.
Gomer Pyle?
Because of who? Gomer Pyle?
Well,
he just wanted someone to yell at you.
That wasn't a good example of why you should join the military.
No. Because he didn't know Gomer was a Marine.
No, but he wanted me to join up. Yo, man, that's right. Gomer was a Marine. I could have never cut it in the Marines. What if they picked on me? That would have been,
yeah.
I mean, I could take being a Marine unless I was the Gomer Pyle. Then I would fuck.
Yeah. Now they're hitting you in the head with a fucking pillow full of soap bars.
You want to be the one.
Thanks, Dad.
You don't want to be the one that gets made an example of from
every
war movie I've seen.
Did I tell you guys the Marines rejected me in high because I had assault charges?
Really?
I think you mentioned that a long time ago, but that was. I mean, you went into the army though, right?
Yeah. They gave me waivers.
I told the Marines.
I told the Marines, don't you guys kill people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to learn.
I don't know. They probably figure army, you can still kill people and then they can follow you into battle, right? Didn't the Marines are prided themselves on being first, right?
He was just a lazy recruiter. He didn't want to do paperwork.
Yeah.
Right.
It's one guy. You should join the Marines.
Yeah, they used to take
if that's your dream.
No, Chad.
Matthew McConaughey says you should join the Marines, man.
First of all, Andy, it's McConaughey.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
you can't even get his fucking name right. Don't drag his name through the dog shit. Okay?
Oh man, did somebody pay for the? I think somebody paid for the seminar.
I don't need the seminar, bro.
So I'm already there.
Trip. Brett's thinking, you know what? I can take a road trip every day to the office and hear just
every day, man. Every day when I walk into that car factory, I'm like, Livin. This is what I've always dreamt.
Fucking run through yellow lights and fucking causes accidents and shit while listening.
And telling his publicist what to write down for his book. Yeah, I'm still in. In.
Well, you got enough from the book,
Well, I read the book.
Well, I would have listened to it on tape.
Which I did.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine.
It was good. Is that
I've read a couple self-help books. I thought it was right up there with any of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's got a
motivational book, not a self-help.
My favorite self-help book is called The Enabler. It's something I bought from my mom and gave it to her, and she wrote in it. wrote it. I mean, I found it, it wasn't like something we discussed, but I found it, and she'd written stuff about Larry. As I was like, you enable Larry, and I was like, had to sit down and tell her, like, John Taffer telling her she's a shitty manager, but she didn't I think the enabler concept was kind of new, at least in her. So she got it at least in the index. I don't know if she took it outside of the book, but that was my. I don't think I've ever done a self-help book. Chicken soup.
I'm listening to a self-help book right now that James Inman would probably like. It's called The Mind Illuminated. It's a Buddhist teaching.
Well, James already knows
stages.
He probably wrote it.
But it's it's written by a guy who is called Upasaka Kuladasa.
Oh, there it is.
And he's got like this lineage that goes back it's real important with Buddhist teachings. But I actually studied with him in the Chiricahua Mountains. He lived in a yurt up there before he died. And I went up there and meditated.
Wait, are you Bert Kreishering us right now?
I'm not shitting you. I studied Buddhism for a year one time.
Fuck, dude.
So I went up there and learned from this dude for a little while. And his name was John Yates. He was a neuroscientist of some sorts from Canada.
But he's the self-help guy, or the guy that was running that?
And he got into Buddhism, and I liked that he was a scientist. And then also, so I went over there and asked him a bunch of questions and hung out with him and stuff. So
did you ask him 3 questions?
I asked him several questions.
Did you have to walk up a hill?
Yeah,
we had to do a lot of walking, because part of the thing that you have to do when you go over there is walking meditation. It is a silent walking meditation.
That's beautiful.
All the way around this big thing that he has in the Dragoon Mountains.
How did you like all of that? How did you like Buddhist study?
It's just a bunch of rules. It's Eastern Catholicism, but I like the peaceful part of it. I like the meditation part of it. The part that's not all the rules part of it.
Yeah.
No kung fu or anything though.
I don't think that's Buddhism, Andy. I think that's Kung Fu.
And it's also a TV show.
Yeah, but Kung Fu did some Buddhism.
Yes, but that doesn't mean Buddhism is Kung Fu. I mean,
it doesn't hurt if you're going to walk around with a bunch of Buddhists.
Oh, man.
Trying to find that guy. I think this is the guy.
I'm trying to fix my head up. That's him. Upasaka Kuladasa.
His name was John Yates, and he changed it to Upasaka Kulamata. That was a good move, by the way.
John Yates is his regular name. Upasaka Kuladasa is like his ordained name, because he was like some sort of, in Buddhism, I don't remember what it is, but he was sort of like a half priest, or not like a priest, but like a half monk. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah. Well, Upasaka Kulamata is better than John Yates, because if you're John Yates, no one's gonna buy your bullshit. But Upasada, you'll go climb a mountain to talk to that dude. And that, but
how big was his group? Or was there a group?
He just lived there with his wife.
Oh, okay.
I think
they
were into. I think they were like swingers.
Getting all that Buddhist pussy.
Yeah, if you look up Kuladasa,
what's the point of joining a cult? I mean,
I get it, dude.
I think enlightenment is like, I could use some more pussy.
It's not even a cult. Any group, listen, you join groups to get more pussy, right? I mean, that's pretty much
that's why you join a band.
Anything, other than joining a podcast with 3 of your friends, this is the only thing.
This is the only endeavor that does not show motivation of wanting pussy.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Watch any episode of this and you'd be like, these guys are not doing this for pussy.
For gash.
It's impossible.
They're doing it in spite of it.
The trick is to watch the pussy come and watch the pussy go.
You have talked to some Buddhists before. You get it, bro. That's fucking deep. Fuck yeah. Oh man. See, the episodes are getting
best sound make leaving. That's a little Miyagi Eastern philosophy as well.
Yep.
And Yoda.
I like that Kuladasa. That's a cool name.
Yeah.
Oh. But it's pretty cool because it's really scientific-y, even though it's Eastern stuff. It breaks it down in
ultimately,
a scientific way.
I'm all for that. Ultimately, I'm with Carlin in the I don't believe in reincarnation because the math doesn't work. You know, like you can't just keep adding more people if everyone's a soul from some past life. Like you can't just keep, you know. So reincarnation sounds like bullshit. But Buddhism, of all of the major religions, is clearly Sikhism is probably the number one, but Buddhism is probably a close second in being fairly peaceful and unwarlike. And you know, I'm for that. So I'll give the Buddhist credit there.
One of the things I like is it says, "Well, fucking try it," like just see. Like it's now don't take my word for it. Like here's the exact stages of what will happen if you meditate, but don't take my word for it. Like
try it out.
Do these things.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, even Jesus Christ, who was supposedly some kind of pretty cool dude, said the only way to eternal life is through me. You must worship me to gain eternal life. And the Buddha is reported to have said, I am not a god. Do not worship me. That's bullshit. Don't do it.
Right. What did David Corey
say? Any god that exists inside of you, and it's just you. So it's atheistic in its you know, deity. So again, that's another thing.
It's just a mark of a good scam artist, and tell you know
it's possible.
So are you enjoying the book, Chad?
I have read it before, but I just found it on I found it on Libby, but it said I had to wait 8 weeks to check it out, and I got
to become enlightened.
And I got impatient and realized I had 2 credits on Audible, and I was like, fuck it. This guy just passed away, and I had just started meditating again a week or so ago, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to this just to motivate me a little bit.
That's a good recommendation. I like that one. I like listening to stuff that isn't necessarily all the best pizza or the best burgers in Philadelphia. So I mean, that's you can only get so much bullshit on YouTube that sometimes you get stuff like this. I mean, I'm using you as an example, but
I mean, besides this, you guys are cool though.
Yeah. I mean, we're cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you
caught up on that? My favorite part of Succession is now that I'm caught up. You know, I'm caught up.
I am too, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I say that I haven't seen the last week's. I always watch it.
That's not caught up.
Well,
yeah, you're behind.
I'm not caught. I am caught up in the sense that when I watch it, there are no more.
That's like Andy owning the land that he doesn't own.
No. Hear me out on this, Chaille.
Where are you throwing this shit?
I'm caught up in the sense that when I watch the episode, there aren't any more, and what that means is it doesn't go right to the next episode. It plays through all the credits. And then it goes to the behind the scenes shit, which I love. But when I'm behind, it just skips all that and goes right to the next episode. Okay. And I don't stop that from happening. But I like the behind the scenes stuff because I like seeing the characters who are English. Like when you hear them actually speak and they all have
English. Like Tom Womagans and
Tom Womagans and Shiv are both fucking English, and they're both pretty fucking good at American accents. I would have never guessed that either one of those were English. So I like hearing them talk about it. Just seems like when you hear them talk about the show, they're doing the character when they're talking about the show. Like their English accent is a bullshit thing they're doing. And the character they are on Succession is the character to me.
Did anyone watch the coronation? I turned it on.
I put it on because I couldn't get YouTube in our hotel room and I needed something to go to sleep to.
Oh man, that'd do it.
That would, yeah.
I had it on, and every time I look at it, there was never a reason to a curiosity even to hear the volume, turn it up, and then it was
Andy, that's like 3 a.m. for you.
Yeah, that's my first day, and I get up and get all squirrely and shit for a few hours, and then go back to bed. But it was on the whole time, and it was like watching just fucking what the fuck, man? Why would they do that? It's like everybody makes, I would think that England, there's a few old, people who are like, this is still cool or whatever. But most people are just like, well, this is fucking dumb or whatever. And you can tell they're miserable doing it. The Charles guy's all fucking, yelling at everybody and shit. And of course, you're dressed like a fucking asshole and riding in a fucking wagon. That's not fun for any dude. It just seemed
and not to mention he had hoped to have ascended to this role 45 years ago.
That's what I was just going to say, Chaille. I mean, I think it's the fact that his mom is such a cunt, because if she really loved her son, she would have abdicated and given the throne to him when he was she didn't.
70.
She held on.
Turns out it's not her fault, because all she knew was being a fucking queen, because she got fucking thrown into it so young.
Let go of it. She wouldn't let go of it.
Well, she got thrown into it. It was because her uncle fucking.
You've done it for 40 years. Let your son have a shot.
She was probably afraid.
Well,
he doesn't know any other way.
Yeah,
it's like the end of Shawshank Redemption when what's his name hangs himself.
Yeah,
she could have been like the second pope who lived above the other pope. She could just live up above him in Buckingham Palace and make pizzas.
Yeah, but
does Menudo play there? Over.
Does Menudo still play out there? I doubt it. You got to travel to see Menudo.
I don't think Menudo would get fucked over there.
Yeah.
Not at the current ages.
All right. I feel like we did it. Let's put a fucking bow on this.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's something I've been watching. Because I know Andy, everyone got I can't think of it.
Well, Andy was talking about Love and Death, and
I did watch. I watched the first episode of that, and the Plumbers one that he mentioned last week.
The Plumbers, and I definitely will watch both of those.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Plumbers, the second episode wasn't as funny or whatever, but it's it's a 5-episode thing, so it's not gonna. And the other, Love and Death is the other one, and that we can talk about that at some time. But it's like. It's kind of like 2 shows. I watched the extras at the end. The love story goes 3 episodes, and then tragedy ensues, and then it's like a courtroom.
Spoiler alert.
I love that kind of shit where people, there may or may not be a crime, and if there was a crime, and then the people involved with it, that when it gets, like in fuck it, I can't even think of it. William Macy.
Andy, there's a crime in the first 2 minutes. The first scene is a crime scene. So there's a crime.
It's also called Love and Death. Yeah. So it's a bit of a clue.
Right. So it's like, but I think it's getting really good because,
When I was in 7th grade, there was this kid in my school, Chris Nearing, who was the smartest kid in our class. And he was giving a book report on a book he read. And the book was called Custer's Last Stand. And he gave the book report, and then at the end of it, he said, and I don't want to give away how it comes out. And he got a huge laugh. And it's still one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And I feel like it's a little bit like that. Yeah. And he wasn't even trying to be funny, by the way. He legitimately thought there were funny or interesting aspects of this story that he didn't want to give away. But it's like, we pretty much know. And I feel like Love and Death is kind of like that. Like it's right in the title. There's going to be some stuff going on. So,
All right.
I watched the other day was that I haven't watched since for a long time was that Romeo and Juliet that they redid with
Leonardo DiCaprio and John Leguizamo and Claire Danes.
That was
Probably
pretty
quaint
good.
now. It probably seems like, well, they don't have that high a caliber of weapons.
I
They were strapped pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was a favorite movie of Kip Kinkle, or it was something he had on repeat. He kept playing the soundtrack to it over and over.
No, I think it took me two sittings.
Really? Yeah, it is. It's a interesting.
It's a contemporary version of Romeo and Juliet with a young Leonardo DiCaprio.
And who is the lady in it?
Claire Danes.
Claire Danes. Yeah.
she's the best.
She was. Now she's all grown up.
Well, but she's still the best, Andy. She's
Yeah,
still the best.
so are
It
you.
doesn't go away, all right?
Oh, man.
You want the 14-year-old
Calm
girl?
down, groomer.
I'm grooming redheads online.
She is one of my favorites. I like Claire Danes. She was great. We've talked about this before. She was great in that Temple Grandin movie. I don't have anything that I've been trying to keep up with Succession. That's as much as I can do. It's all my tiny brain can handle until this season, until the show's over.
All right. Well,
It's still good, man. It's
so
they just
fucking
did
good.
7. I had 2 episodes that I missed while I was on the road with Stanhope, so I got to binge those. That and two races for F1. It was a fucking great day back.
Oh, F1's getting exciting because what was boring about F1 was Max Verstappen was going to be the champion because he's got Red Bull. He's got the best car, he's got the best team, he's killing everybody. But now
They've developed a really good car, and
his teammate
Perez,
his teammate might beat him, which is something no one saw happening. So that's actually fairly interesting to me.
I don't know about that, but it is. There definitely is a fight between the two on the same team. And then Fernando Alonso is he's winning 3rd every race. It's like, what the fuck? He got onto that team and he's crushing it because Mercedes can't they can't buy a fucking break.
Poor guys.
Poor guys, Mercedes.
So are you caught up with all the races?
Yeah.
So didn't Perez win the last race?
No, Verstappen won. The race before that in Azerbaijan, Perez did win.
Perez won the one before
but
that.
Miami was last week. Oh, sorry if anyone who's watching it on demand.
We have a lot of
F1, but this is when the people who don't, invest in the Patreon are like, they're talking about F1.
Yeah.
And then they're like, let's just, let's hang out with all the YouTube onlys are just like, oh yeah, no, we donated.
Yeah, the YouTube fans, they're more IndyCar, that's a little bit lower level.
Oh my God. So low. Man.
It's a fucking joke.
See those guys now they just punch each other in the fucking infield to get on the fucking news.
Is that NASCAR?
Ridiculous.
That was NASCAR.
Yeah. I'd like to see them both, it's always like, it's like football fighting, take your helmet off and square up like gentlemen.
No, they punched him good. But the thing about that fight was that the one guy in the fight, I don't even remember which one it was, the guy who punched or I think it was the guy who threw the punch, is the guy who became famous last year for winning that race and getting bumped up a league in racing by doing that Talladega Nights Ricky Bobby move where he fucking drove his car into the wall and then hit the gas as hard as he could, and he wouldn't spin out because he was stuck to the outside wall, and he literally passed 15 cars.
This is real racing?
Real racing.
Really? Wow.
You know what I'm talking about, Chaille?
No.
You don't believe me.
This is F1.
I believe you.
No,
It's a fucking
NASCAR
I hate
racing.
that fucking
Dude, Google NASCAR like real Ricky Bobby last lap or something. Like this guy pulled this fucking move that was in the movie that everyone thought was bullshit, but it actually works because you can go a lot faster if you don't have to steer. If you just get up against the wall and let the wall steer you around, It really worked, and he
Oh,
fucking
like
won
a,
this
I
saw
goddamn
that.
race.
I
Like a
saw
gutter?
that.
A little bit like a gutter ball, but it speeds you up because you don't have to steer. You don't
Yeah.
have to worry about spinning out.
Was
And
that
he
what
did
Dale
it.
Earnhardt was doing?
He was what he tried to do, but
I mean, was that the same wall? Like he hit a wall like that?
but that was Daytona. This was just a smaller. This was smaller, but it was a real thing.
He
He
got
really
spun
did it.
into a wall. This dude rode the wall.
Okay.
Right. There's a little
Okay. Different. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I remember seeing that.
This guy just got punched in the face. Dale Earnhardt got punched by his steering wheel through his
Yeah, no, that was a bummer. But I mean, that when you saw that accident, it didn't look like much. It
no.
didn't look like, like I've seen far worse people
Absolutely.
come out of those. All right, but I didn't know racing was a thing. I when Chaille said that F1, and I had to Google it, I thought it was a soccer league.
Of F1.
Yeah, I hadn't, I mean, I've heard Formula One, but I didn't put it together.
Chaille, I'm gonna look for this video.
I got it right
You
here.
got it? All right, let's watch this. This is real.
It's Ross Chastain.
Ross Chastain.
All right, so I'll see if this one will. I gotta pull it up.
Like a pinball.
Hold on a second. I gotta get on so we don't get commercials.
Ran out of weed down
That's
here,
the one
Chad.
I'm thinking of.
I've never seen this clip, but
It's pretty incredible. As a racing fan, Chaille, I think you'll enjoy it.
yeah, I don't watch NASCAR.
It's pretty incredible.
All right.
NASCAR.
So Andy, you're out of weed?
Hold on.
Down here. Yeah, I mean, I got some upstairs, but
Okay. The show's gone
Yeah,
long.
I had to run back inside at the last second. I only had a little tiny piece, so I ran in and grabbed the whole bag.
yeah, I go through a lot in this podcast. That's what a lot of the YouTube onlys don't understand.
$5 a month,
Me and
everybody.
Chad,
That's all we're
we just,
asking.
we go through
All
a
right, here
Patreon.
we
where-
go.
Threw it on
All right,
here.
so watch this guy win this race on the last lap.
I couldn't believe it. Like, I just couldn't believe what was happening. We're gonna be out by 2 points. And I double checked in the corner, like,
Look at this moron.
we have to?
Hey, Gomer.
When he said that off of 2, there was no other
Is
option.
this the driver that did it?
I guess so. I don't know any of this. I just saw the video.
And I've never second guessed it once. which
That
is
move right there, he passed like 10 people.
No, yeah.
Yeah, you just press on the gas as hard as it'll go, and you let the wall steer you around.
Huh.
The next thing I know, I'm on the straightaway, and I run into 6, and I look over out the window net, and the first...
That'll get you
clear
Dewey
thing I
outside
saw
of the
was
track, though.
11.
So that's not legal, though, right?
It's absolutely illegal. Just people wouldn't do it because it's insane.
That's like
These guys, they
nobody
mess
said
up
a
their
horse
cars
can't win.
every time anyway. I mean, it doesn't. You can rebuild the car.
It was the last race of the season, and he moved up enough spots to
Yeah.
like gain this next level of whatever it is. But it's a Talladega Nights Ricky Bobby move that and he's one of the guys in the NASCAR fight. That was the whole reason this got brought up. I think he's the guy who threw the punch. So I'm
He
on.
looks like the guy that threw the punch.
I'm
I
on.
like
his
that fight at the Kentucky Derby where the guy was already had a bloody eye, and then a guy sucker punched the guy and hit him on the fucking.
That was
bloody
pretty
eye.
crazy.
Yeah.
I could pull that up. Let me find that.
That was
that-
wild. That guy was pretty fucked up when he was already getting.
I'd like to see more of those, like, because this was like, you didn't have that stadium situation, just, low life scrum in the pit or whatever. Not even low life. It just, you could tell it was like, people who were fucking in the pints a little bit.
Well, they were all holding drinks too. They all kept the
holding drinks.
going,
But I loved how that guy just like he throws a punt. The dude's fucking eye already looks like it's gonna be sore.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to hit him there, but
Oh man.
then he gets hauled off by the Amish.
And this the gal in the yellow there, she really starts going off. I think she's with the guy who got the busted eye.
Bunch of Tucker Carlsons.
Yeah.
Look at how white people fight.
She's big.
Okay, now she goes for it.
Kick.
There's a lot of fucking hipsters.
That Ross Chastain in the background?
He's pointing at his chin.
Look at that.
It's like
Ooh.
Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? It looks like he might have got clocked with a pair of glasses on or something, but his eye.
I think
made it
probably what
perfect.
happened was he had a cut like right here, and this tends to
you get
bleed
down.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Or he was wearing a monocle.
Or his monocle got stuck in his eyebrow.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a lot of those, but I would love to watch like fucking, horse racing. I'm gonna look it up after we're done here. Horse racing fights.
Not just fights. You're interested in people with fancy hats and mint juleps throwing down.
Exactly. I want more of that.
There were a lot of the guys in that video who were like trying to be badasses, and then you look at them, they're wearing like straw hats, like pork pie hats. It's like, dude, you can't be a badass in that hat. Just fucking.
It doesn't wear well.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it reminded me of some of the stupid shit I got at Nordstrom's in the early '80s. Just like fucking dumb clothes, or not early '80s, mid like '89, '88.
Buy some dumb hats.
Just no, not that kind of shit, but just like fucking lime green shit,
Oh, the color, the color palette from the 80s.
Yeah, shit that wasn't cool. I mean,
I know what you're talking about.
And if I had them outfits now, they still wouldn't.
I bought a jacket from I was gonna say Chess King. Remember Chess King?
Chess King was a place, that you
I
could
bought
buy
a jacket from Chess.
Cavaricis.
I bought a jacket from Chess King in the late 80s because I was at college as this happened, and it said Everlast on the front, and it was like reflective yellow, like it looked like I should be guarding Matthew McConaughey's dog's shit so that he didn't step in it again. You could see this jacket from a million miles away, and I was
sweater down.
I was in college, and we were at I was a frat boy. We were at another fraternity's party that we were invited to. We're all drunk as fuck. And this girl was yelling a bunch of shit, and she was yelling at me, and we were yelling back and forth. She said something to me, and it seemed like a good idea at the time. I threw my beer on her. I just went fucking yoink, and I fucking launched it on her. And she was like, motherfucker. And she went, and she got her
assaulted her.
She got her boyfriend. I did assault her, and I feel bad about doing it, and I'm sorry. But she got her boyfriend, and he came back over, and he was going to fucking destroy me. And then he was like, "Is this the fucking guy?" And she was like, she looked at me, and she looked at me like sad, with sadness in her eyes, like, "Oh, my boyfriend will fucking kill you." And he would have killed me. And she was like, "No, I'm not sure if that's him." And I was wearing this reflective yellow jacket. Like, it was for sure me. Like, he would have just, she saved my life, and I didn't deserve it. But I know exactly about the kind of fashion choices you're talking about, Andy.
Yeah.
I made a few of them.
I'm not exactly sure what even inspired it, but it was just like I think the fashion industry said, let's just fucking throw out all our shit all at once. I just happened to be at the mall.
Was this it?
That's it. That's it. That's it, dude.
That's the same
how could you
frame.
not? How do you not know that that's the guy?
There's no one in the world would mistake you for someone else.
That's the guy. Yeah, you're not going to get away. You're not going to get away.
I'd check her vision.
George Michael.
Yeah, it's kind of George Michael.
Absolutely, dude. We're right in the George Michael era.
Dang.
Absolutely.
And it had you can't see it in here, but it has a cowl, a thick cowl neck.
Dude, I was.
Oh, and also Miami Vice. Kind of its color choices and shit were Miami Vice.
Miami Vice was more of the pink and the
pastels and shit.
Like
but when you're like low end buying, when you're like you're fucking on a budget and you're trying to look like those guys, you end up looking like a fucking asshole. That's what happened. I get shit like, oh, okay, cool. That sweater looks all right, white and pink and fucking stupid looking. And
you look like Crackett and Tibbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's get out of here. I love you guys. This is my favorite 2 hours of the week. Thank you, 3, for doing this every week. And we love you guys for being out there. We've been harping on it a little bit, but we would love it if you join the Patreon. It's not that much. It's $5 a month. And you'll get all kinds of stuff that we're not putting on the
Chad's tweets.
Chad.
I'll see you guys over there.
Yeah, rub elbows with Chad.
Chad is engaging on Patreon, and maybe we'll put the chicken camera on Patreon. I mean, I don't know. Like, there's lots of options, but $5 a month, that's basically nothing. So join and help us out. And, you know, Andy can go get some more weed or whatever it was he needed. Or Dr. Thunder.
Yeah.
It's all helpful. It's all helpful. It all goes to a good cause is my point. So thank you for being out there. And like and subscribe to the YouTube channel if that's where you're joining us. We love you being there too as well. We'll be right back here next week. We'll do it again. We'll see you then. Later.